So in today's video, I want to talk to you a little bit about what is a secure attachment style and how does a secure attachment style actually form? This is a really common question I get asked all the time, and the roots of when our attachment style or love style actually forms occurs all the way back between the ages of 0 and 2 years old. So we're going to cover in this video what that really looks like. What are some different patterns of behavior that are essentially necessities to forming this secure attachment style, and we will talk about how your attachment style can change over time, whether it is the accidental byproduct of your circumstances or whether it is something that you are actually initiating the change around in order to become secure yourself. So, first and foremost, if you're not already familiar with attachment theory, everybody has an attachment style, and there are four major attachment styles. There are three: insecure, which is essentially the anxious attachment style, who can sometimes experience big fears of abandonment in relationships, or dismissive avoidant, who tends to be a little bit afraid of commitment and distance themselves frequently in relationships, and are fearful avoidant, who can exhibit both activating strategies, this need to be closer, and deactivating strategies, this need to sort of push people away out of self protection. And they can sort of be hot and cold in relationships and have conflicting ideas about love, wanting it and also being afraid of it simultaneously. So, our secure attachment style is the one secure type, and the secure attachment style as a whole tends to do the best in relationships. They tend to have the easiest time. They tend to be able to be the most open. They tend to feel like they can trust and rely on other people in relationships. And statistically, securely attached individuals have the best chance of actually forming lasting bonds. Now, the main reasons for this are actually based on the early sets of rules they get for what attachment looks like all the way back in childhood. See, essentially, a securely attached child grows up in a home or an environment where there are a lot of what we would call approach oriented behaviors from parent to child. And what an approach oriented behavior is that if a child is crying, the parent will tend to the child. They will approach the child, try to figure out what's going on. They tend to be highly attuned to the child. And children who are actually biologically wired for attunement really pick up on this. And if you think about it for a moment, in a sort of big, overwhelming world that a little child comes into in their own deep sense of vulnerability, when they come into this world and bond with the caregiver, there is an innate understanding from the child that this is the person I have to rely on and trust who's going to help me survive, because children literally are very dependent individuals when it comes to their survival. So we'll see, for example, number one, a lot of approach oriented behaviors, a lot of the parent being attuned to the child, being present with the child a lot more often than you would see in insecurely attached homes. And you would see that when the child expresses emotion, the parent is paying attention. They're trying to unpack and understand that emotion, which allows a child to actually then feel safe expressing their emotions to other people because it's being positively reinforced at such a young age. Now, a lot of people will ask me the question, Thais, how do you know that a child even remembers this? And what research is very conclusive about is that actually the first 3 years of a child's life are the most impactful in terms of both our subconscious and unconscious programming. And you can think of your subconscious mind essentially as like the filter that you see the world through. So if your deepest programs are about, I can rely on other people, I can express my emotions to my caregivers or to loved ones, and they want to approach me, they want to understand my emotions, they want to try to care for me and help me adapt, then we learn as adults that it's safe to rely on other people, to express ourselves to people, to open up emotionally, and to rely on people not just from a needs perspective, but also from an emotional and soothing perspective. And so securely attached individuals feel safe to communicate themselves. They feel more confident in relationships because they have healthy experiences when it comes to relationships and what it means to do attachment, right? What it means to bond with other people. Now, there's more to it than just this. So, some other big things that you'll see is that a child is encouraged as they go on. So, we know, for example, from the work of John Bowlby, that our attachment style originally develops between the ages of 0 to 2 years old, but it goes on over time to actually shift and change ever so slightly across time because we have neuroplasticity, which means, essentially we are being programmed all the time by our external environment, and whatever we're being repeatedly exposed to is impacting our subconscious mind. And so you could, for example, have a child who is very secure in childhood, and then at the age of 8 goes through a really painful divorce with their family, and all of a sudden after that starts having different attachment challenges, maybe then becomes anxiously attached, for example, or fearful avoidant. And so, we can be exposed to things that will make us change, and sort of under that same umbrella, we can be really secure or even anxious attached, and then date somebody who's really unhealthy and maybe come out of that relationship as a fearful avoidant. So, whatever we're being repeatedly exposed to, our subconscious mind is essentially being rewired through repetition plus emotion over time. So, what this means is, when we go back to the securely attached child and other big things that are important is, after that first couple of years that a child's attachment style is developed based on how present their caregiver is, how approach oriented their caregiver is, how attuned they are, how much they soothe their child when the child expresses emotion. We then have this next sort of chapter of childhood, which is the communication space. And when we are in this space of childhood, we generally get messaging about whether or not we can communicate and hash things out. And, securely attached parents to their child, when their child is expressing their needs, they will share, right, what their needs are, and they will validate that child's needs. So, an example of this, because parents ask me this all the time too, they'll say, well, Thais, what if my child is asking for candy and it's 10 p.m. and they should have already gone to bed and I don't want to give them candy? It's actually less about meeting all the needs and more about validating and negotiating the needs that teaches a child that their needs are worthy of being expressed. So, an example of this would be, let's say the child is asking for candy at 10 p.m. You wouldn't just say, "Hey, no, you can't have it. Stop asking, go to bed." You might say something like, "Hey, honey, I know you want candy. Candy is delicious, but it's not going to help you sleep. You're going to have an upset stomach, and I don't want that for you. So why don't you, eat your dinner tomorrow night? And if you have a really healthy dinner and eat all of your greens, you can have a little bit of candy after dinner then." And so what we're doing is we're validating that the child has unique needs, that they are interested in specific desires or outcomes. And we are, attuning to that. We are validating it. And then we are negotiating or communicating about it. And in doing this, a child feels like their needs are worthy of being seen and heard and understood, and feels again positively reinforced to express their needs, to express their emotions. And this translates into our adult relationships where we feel the same way. We feel like we can communicate and express and share, even if we have to compromise on things with other people. And so it fosters this depth and ability to feel like it's safe to communicate and safe to set our boundaries as needed under the same sort of umbrella. So these are some really important dynamics. There is a little bit more. If you're not familiar with what your attachment style is, please feel free to take our free attachment style quiz down below. It actually comes with a really in-depth report for like all of your core wounds and what your attachment style breakdown is, and the different needs you'll have. And it also depicts all the other attachment styles. And again, it's all free. And those other attachment styles will show you like what their wounds are and what some of their challenges are. So you can also see what it's like to be in a relationship with another attachment style and some of the pain points and challenges that may arise. And then, of course, we have tons of courses at PDS on exactly what to do that you can also check out for free for 7 days using the link in the description below. And also, I'm really excited to share with you that we've actually been working on an app for quite some time, and we're going to be launching that as well. So if you want to come in, check out our new app that we have to take all of your PDS courses from and all the new exciting features and benefits in there, check it out. That will also be included when you click the link down below. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here and for stopping by. Please like, share, and subscribe if you're enjoying this channel. I would love to have you here as a part of our community, and I can't wait to see you in future videos.